Looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Christian Hangout number 31. So far, there's only two of us here. It's me and Lumen at Soul. Say hi, Lumen.
Greetings in Christ, everyone.
Well, there might be some more people joining us later, but for now, it's just the two of us. So if you have a problem with that, then I don't know what to tell you. I've invited several people, and they should be coming at some point. But, you know, what's wrong with us? We're good, aren't we? Doggone it.
Yeah, I have been known to kind of, how should I put this, talk too much. So, you know, I can probably compensate until other people show up or until you or someone in chat tells me to shut up.
That's fine. And I'm just announcing at the beginning that I do not have a backup computer in case this one crashes on me, which it does once in a while. So if somehow I just drop out of this conversation, and that I don't think I'm going to be able to keep the Hangout going, because I might have to jump on my iPad and sign off, because I actually did an experiment to see if the person hosting the Hangout exits and then it like automatically shuts down after 5 minutes, it automatically goes off the air.
Ah, I didn't know that.
But if you switch to a different computer and sign back in, it'll keep going. But for some reason, if I go to my iPad and sign in, it still shuts down automatically. It doesn't keep it live. So I don't know why that is exactly. It's just the way the system is. So hopefully this won't be an issue, but I'm just putting it out there that this one might, if my computer crashes on me, this one might end up being cut short. So if that happens, I can't really do anything about it.
No, so, it's in God's hands.
Yep. So before we went live, Lumen and I were discussing what we really need to do as Christians to be on the right path. And Lumen was talking about going to church regularly, because I think a lot of us, including myself, I haven't been attending church very frequently recently, just because I've been overwhelmed with other stuff. Recently I've been pondering the Beatitudes, where it says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they will be filled." And like, am I really hungering and thirsting after righteousness? Oh, hey, William's here. Now the party can begin.
It's my birthday too.
Oh boy.
Really? Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Let's get.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thanks. Can you guys hear me?
You're a little soft.
Speak again, William. It was silent at first, and then it was quiet.
How's that now?
That's a little better.
A little better. Yeah. We were just talking about the Beatitudes, William. That's your area of expertise.
Yeah, that's so funny. You showed up right when we started talking about it.
Yeah, I heard the hunger and thirst for righteousness from Ian there.
Yeah.
William is currently involved in a Beatitudes project.
Yep. Which you can find on his blog. You can find links to it.
Yeah. The sound quality on that's not so hot, but I don't know. I will redo something. I mean, I have other stuff on it, but that talk in particular was kind of a one-off thing. So if you suffer through the first few minutes, it does get a lot better. I just had the phone. I was recording it on my phone in my upper pocket, in my shirt, and so it was going.
Yeah.
So I know it's canceled it, and then that always causes problems too of its own.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, I was thinking about the one that says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness," and I started to ask myself, is the reason that I'm sad a lot of the time due to my inadequacies in life because I'm focused more on the things of this world and not necessarily on righteousness? Like I really do want to be, righteous, and I do want to be, I do want to live my life the way I'm supposed to, but sometimes I feel like maybe I don't want it enough, or that I'm too tempted by the things of this world, that it makes me lose my focus on what it should be.
Yeah, you're still quite young.
Well, relatively speaking, but maybe I'm not as old as you, but I'm not too far behind.
You're 20
Mark.
years younger than me, probably.
Probably more like 15. I think. I'm in my mid-30s, so.
I'm 52 today, so.
Okay,
you and I are the closest in age, William. I'm a bit younger than you, but definitely closer than Ian is.
So yeah,
Oh, Mark dropped.
Mark just, if he's having internet problems, but
so
Mark just took one look at this and walked away. He's like, nope, I'm not going to do this.
no, Mark just said, I didn't realize these guys were so old. Why have I been coming to these hangouts?
I'll have no part of this.
You guys are crusty.
Oh, he's already back. He couldn't stay away.
Yeah.
Speaketh thou, Mark.
His microphone's not set up yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lumen. What were your thoughts?
Well,
sorry, what?
Well, I was going to say that. Oh, there goes Mark again. You know, that's one of the biggest conundrums for a Christian is also the key to what's so precious about Christianity, which is that in this case, you're talking about hungering for righteousness, wanting to be a better man, and that's obviously pretty much what Christianity is about. You become a better person so that you can die a holy death and you save your soul. But it's so difficult to do because of human nature, and particularly in modern times. It's even for people like us, it's we are we've decided to open our eyes. We've decided to acknowledge the truth. We've decided to be honest about what's right, what's wrong, what's healthy, what's to our detriment, and it's still difficult. So that's the the conundrum is I want to change, but I find that I can't change, or I find that I change for a little while and then I fall back. This could be just getting wrapped up in attachments to the world. It could be lust, pornography, whatever. But the answer, the key is so the problem is I can't change. The answer is I can be changed. I can be changed through Christ. And I was commenting to Ian before we started the hangout that it's vital to be actively participating in your faith. Going to mass, obviously prayer, everything you can do. So we can't. Man is weak, is fallible, and fallen, and through God all things are possible.
The good that I would, I do not, and that which I would not, that I do. It's Paul's rather black-pilled view of human nature. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sometimes nice to remember that even the greatest men of the faith struggled with things too.
Yeah, I think it takes. I mean, when I say, I don't mean to be glib about your age, and like maybe you just get old and burn out, and then you won't want to sin anymore or something like this. But it is a long process of practice that
yes,
I mean,
practice.
some people catch on younger, but some people pretend to have caught on younger as well, and they're not really necessarily sort of as good as they put out. I would say I was that sort of person in my youth, that I was really trying hard to be the right person, but I was really kind of, within, I wasn't really transformed in any way. So it's it's a long process, but and it's difficult to let go of things. We hold on tenaciously and quite naturally to things that we want, that lead us from, that keep us from kind of accessing or laying ourselves open to grace and to transformation of the spirit, because we're not sort of willing, or we realize how high the cost is. I mean, in the end, it's no cost at all, but we perceive it as being a high cost, so it's difficult to. It's one thing to believe these things, to assent to certain beliefs, but it's another thing entirely to sort of be dynamically a Christian, not just sort of intellectually one.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Mark.
Hey, can you hear me now?
We can.
Yep.
I was having some technical difficulties.
Yep. Well, no, we've all been there.
We've all.
Remember remember that time you kept joining and like the audio wasn't working?
Oh yeah,
those were the days.
Yeah, I can read you.
And remember that time my computer froze on me and no, okay. Yeah, everybody has battle stories of technical difficulties.
Yeah, especially across the pond there.
Yeah,
the internet's pretty good. It's not that bad.
Well, there's actually a guy in the Good Morning White America Bible study who's in the UK, and his internet frequently cuts out, and he'll like his audio will just sort of cut out if he's talking, and then like a few seconds later his avatar will pop up again. Like he'll connect and then disconnect and then connect again.
That's because they hire immigrants to pedal power the system.
And the jobs that the British won't do.
Yeah, they will do all the jobs the Brits won't do, like bicycle power.
They're disgruntled Turks.
That's right. Well, for my birthday, I'm drinking Jameson's.
Hey, lad.
On an empty stomach.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get something to eat in a minute.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. So William is, I can't agree more about practice. And as an artist, and I've struggled with my art because of illness. I can attest to, and obviously saving your soul is a more grave and vital work than becoming an artist. But it's like so many things in life. You do it over and over, and it helps you to overcome your faults, your weaknesses, and it does become may not necessarily become quantitatively easier. You'll still have issues and hardship, but I think it does qualitatively become just more natural.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The wise old men have spoken.
Yeah, William, I was laughing when you mentioned that you get older and it's like you just burnt out. It's like I'm too tired to sin anymore. I'm old.
But I haven't noticed that's actually true. Like my my friends that are not on any particular path of enlightenment or transformation, they actually become more sexually obsessed as they get older.
Yeah,
because they're more desperate. The fear of death. It's like a flower. Any plant goes to seed when it's distressed. I think human beings are kind of the same way. Even though we might think this lust is somehow some kind of desire, it's actually the desire to reproduce at a really fundamental level, and just the fear of being gone. And so because some of the guys my age and older who, I mean, they call themselves feminists, but the way they talk about women and approach women is just freaking repulsive.
How do you stay friends with guys who call themselves feminists?
How's
that even doable?
This is what a feminist looks like.
He's too old. He's too old to do otherwise. He's too tired.
Too old and tired to kick all my. Yeah, I usually mock them over it.
I just couldn't respect a man who called him. I mean, it's bad enough when a woman calls herself a feminist, but a man saying "I'm a feminist," that's oh, I've never actually encountered it, funnily enough.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Mostly older men will. I don't know. Well, some of the younger guys, my son's friends, kind of see themselves that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's becoming pretty uncool to say that. You know,
Yes.
it's just the sort of standard cucky thing to say. I'm a feminist. You're fucking a white male.
What are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? How is Trump like Hitler? Are you kidding me?
Carl the cuck.
I'm trying to work out how I can mention him in my book without it seeming non-academic.
You're writing a book?
Yeah, I saw that you were writing a book.
Yeah, I'm in the process of it. It's coming along slowly but surely.
What's the theme?
What do you think the theme is?
Reactionary
political theory.
Yep, that's right.
Is the theme effing white males?
You expected me to say like the theme is the history of stamps or something innocuous.
You're not as old as
No, it
us, are you?
No, it's a comprehensive look at reactionary political theory, and I mean, I want something that's just going to serve as a not too in-depth but comprehensive guide to particularly, you know, people who are just sort of coming into it and trying to understand the core principles of it.
Very useful.
But I mean, this is going to take a while. It's probably, I hope to get out sometime next year, but you know, I'm gonna do it alongside my thesis for my full-time education. So
just have both pages open in Word and type back and forth.
Yeah, I need one of those double screen computers, really.
Mark, are you actually doing it for grad school?
No,
okay.
no. God.
Okay, you meant thesis.
I would literally be crucified. No, I'm. What I mean is, I'm doing it alongside that. So that's going to be what I'll be doing next year. But this will be sort of my side project, which may not leave a huge amount of time for shit posting and blogging and all that stuff.
Well, let me know if you need help with the cover. You know, laying out the cover and maybe artwork.
Will do.
Mark is the baby in the house right now, I believe.
Oh well.
But I'm the least intelligent, so I got that going for me.
And I'm the least informed.
Yeah, I don't know, Ian. I think I might be able to take you down in a battle of stupid. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Stupid off right now.
Yeah. No. Well, I would do that, but I'm kind of getting old, and you know, it's getting towards 8 o'clock, so maybe tomorrow.
Okay. Tomorrow I'm gonna be working again, so this was the only free night I had this week to do it, so that's why we're doing this hangout now instead of, I was gonna do it Thursday like normal, but ended up that this was a free night, so yeah.
I'll have to cut out early at some point for two reasons. One, I think my kids will probably feed me my birthday dinner, and I have to give a talk at church. So,
all right. Oh, are you gonna record the next talk again, William?
I don't think so, because it's kind of a guided. It's a liturgical meditation, and it just kind of seems inappropriate to do that. But I will post the document. I will post the document somewhere at some point.
Cool.
So returning to, you know, living in the world and trying to be a better Christian, it's sometimes remarkable to me how little we, and I say we in the general sense, and also in the specific sense for myself, how little we remember that that's, you know, that we're in exile, you know, we're sojourners, and you know, we mentioned, I think in the last Hangout, we mentioned The Imitation of Christ, or a couple Hangouts ago. And like every time I pick that up, and I pick it up all the time, and just, you can just read a chapter quickly. And, you know, this man, this monk, it was all he did. You know, he was so, you know, it's almost like this book was the only attachment he had in the world. And it's really difficult to remember to do that. You know, and the more you are focused on that, the less painful and traumatic, I guess, it does feel to deal with, you know, the various, you know, forms of suffering in the modern world.
I'm a bit sort of lost as to where we are with the topic, so I don't know how much I can say on that.
We're just talking about being, you know, dealing with living in the modern world, and you know, trying to be a Christian. I mean, obviously, all of us here.
Oh, right.
You know, we're you know, we're traditionalists, and so we're very much out of place. And Ian and I kind of started talking about it before we went live, just about, you know, how it kind of isolates you sometimes, and it can.
Are you struggling with that, or?
I'm not so much. I think Ian, I mean, I do from time to time, but I think it's I think Ian maybe.
I don't have a very strong IRL community.
You don't have?
I don't.
Hmm.
You know,
It can be
people
tough.
I work with.
It's...
Yeah, my IRL alt-right community is mostly non-Christian. My IRL.
You have an IRL on the alt-right community. I don't.
You don't? No, we have a fairly.
That's pretty cool.
We have a fairly sizable posse here, actually, and I have.
Wow.
But but my Christian community. But I dropped some red pills in that talk I gave. I talked about natural law, and I had no negative response. I kind of had them. Yeah, I kind of was able to, the way I presented it, it wasn't challenged in any particular way. My priest used to preach about a theological concept, which I'm not sure exactly where it originates, and I may have mentioned it here before, is they talk about the great forgetting, and that we've essentially, as in the modern world, forgotten things that were just simply known or assumed in the past. And we as reactionaries kind of are closer to kind of, you know, reviving that. But the problem is that even those who feel the lack don't really like hearing what they've been missing. So when I start talking reactionary, like with my priest, say, in some ways he can be on board, but in other ways he you know, he's still this, you know, profound modernist sense of love, which is really, you know, endless or limitless liberality. He's not exactly that. I mean he's not he's traditionalist in some ways, but he has a hard time letting go of certain aspects of it, certainly when it comes to women and their role. He would be happier to live in a church environment that wasn't you know, blessing same-sex marriages, or even moving towards that. But so there are it's interesting. I mean, there's aspects, and until you kind of really get that in your soul, what it means to react to modernity and what the costs are of that. I mean, once you realize the costs are really not, they're kind of meaningless, because what you were getting was kind of phony anyway. But it is an interesting conundrum when we're essentially trying to preach the old gospel, like the John Chrysostom kind of gospel. And
the lost gospel, the forgotten gospel,
the forgotten, yeah, which is based on hierarchy and.
Well, I think that really encapsulates this reactionary question. It is that search for what has been lost, but what perennially exists. So it's not something that's been destroyed. It's just something that's been forgotten, but is always there. I think that's how Nicolas Gomez Davia, in fact, described it as sort of the shade that never leaves, but can be simply ignored if men are tempted in that direction. And I mean, this theme of something lost that has to be found is, so I mean, it's really, you see it repeated over and over again throughout esoteric literature. I mean, think of the Golden Fleece, the Holy Grail. You know, these themes echo, even before our time, and experiencing it really in the macro sense of not objects as such, but internal ideals, those sort of properly basic beliefs you mentioned. You know, it's all a repeat. It's all sort of this cycle of the intersection of mythic time and historical time, and it's occurring within our historical time that we've forgotten these most important things, and it is up to a select few to find them again
and make them normal.
That's what I was about to say, and you really just hit the nail on the head, William. It's these are matters that even the most simple, even if they couldn't grasp and manipulate the nuance of the intellectual dimensions of it, they understood that this is just the natural order of things, and it's been so skewed.
Yeah, it's very interesting to think about that, because I mean, sometimes I feel like if I could just speak to these people who disagree with me, people who are more liberal or whatever, and just show them that what I believe is not about being it's not about being mean to people or hating people, but it's about just like understanding life and what makes life worth living, and like being in touch with what God wants for us. I mean, you think like, if you could just say that or express that, people would hear that and they would all want to join. But it's like, maybe there are some people who, even if you did that, they still would reject it.
Well, I think for most people, they wouldn't understand it. They're not meant to understand these things, really. I mean, most people aren't. Most people are there to be led by those who are wiser and stronger than themselves. And, that's how they achieve goodness in this life. They can't do it on their own.
Well, that's true.
That's absolutely true. There's no leadership.
Except through God.
Sorry, go ahead, Ian.
No, it's fine. Well, I was just saying, even the Bible says, like, we can do no good thing except through God. So, I mean, God appoints some of us to lead and be an example to others. We have to do the best we can.
Yeah.
We can understand.
Yeah, I mean, he works through them. That's always been the sort of understanding in orthodoxies. He works through the saints. The saints are the reappearance of Christ in the cosmic flesh over and over again. And that's not to say that they're deified or anything, but it's to say that they are their works.
They're channels for the Logos.
Yeah, they're channels for the Logos. They're a reminder in every generation and for every people, because Jesus' earthly ministry, as profound as it was directed for a very specific earthly purpose at that time, for a very specific people at that time. And thus, especially the further removed you are from it, it can become abstract in a way. And the saints replenish this. They bring this to a level where we can understand it both temporally and spatially, in that each nation has its great saints, and each time period has its great saints, and they reintroduce us almost all over again to the grace and glory of God.
And you know, one of the things I find beautiful about Christianity is that when a Christian achieves a certain level of effectively living their faith, they become capable through charity of whether they can be called saintly at that point in their lives or not. They become capable of sharing this with others, and it's I thought of it today. I think of it every Monday and Thursday. I prayed my Thursday rosary early today because I'm doing something tomorrow. But the second joyful mystery, where the Blessed Mother visits her cousin, and it's about charity. It's about bringing Christ to others, and that's just it's a beautiful thing. And you don't even necessarily need to be a great theologian. If you can feel the presence of Christ in your life, and you can acknowledge the profound change and the peace that it's affected in your life, you become another vessel for Christ, and to share that through charity, and that's true charity is sharing Christ with others.
That's true. I was reading Acts the other day, and there was a part where they're talking about how Peter's going around preaching, and the priests, the Sanhedrin or whoever it is, they're saying they're amazed because they realize that he's not a theologian, he's not an educated man, but yet he can speak so eloquently and talk about these ideas.
Yep.
And because he had Jesus, he had the Spirit in him. It is really amazing that there's sort of a recurring theme throughout the Bible that even that God always uses people who aren't particularly impressive to do his work. And that's kind of one of my normal prayers, like, God, I always feel like, I'm nobody special, I'm nobody important, but I'm frequently praying, like, God, please just use me somehow, however you want, even though I'm not perfect. I've got a lot of flaws, but please use me somehow.
Yeah, well, I mean, indeed, that's the story of Christ himself. I mean, this is not the kind of person who you would think would take on that role in history. But that is the story of everything from nothing is nothing but the repeat of the story of creation. So how does an impoverished carpenter in Galilee come to be known throughout the centuries as the Son of God? It's a nothing to everything, and it's the creation of the universe. That's the creation of life itself, and that is repeated in these kind of diamond in the rough scenarios where you take something small, something insignificant, the mustard seed, and from it grows something that is remembered for all time.
Yeah,
and it's demonstrative of the dichotomy between the kingdom of God and the veil of tears, the world, from the beginning to the end, the Annunciation was made to a lowly handmaiden, and the nativity was announced to shepherds who, in our modern times, we think of these, I don't know, maybe like children's book illustrations of shepherds, and like some cheerful guy holding a staff and wearing a sweater or whatever. But I mean, shepherds were pretty, they were smelly, they weren't very, they didn't have a lot of social status, and he was born in a manger, and kings were happy to part with their worldly wealth to him. So it's that stark contrast between what appeals to us in our pilgrimage, in our exile here on earth, and what really counts, what really matters. And briefly, just touching on the people that kind of show that to you. That I think all of us can remember someone, whether it's just a friend from Mass or a certain priest, and it's just really a beautiful thing. It's to me it's proof that we are made in God's image. When it's a brief moment of transcendence where you're touching someone. We all, whether you're religious or not, you can appreciate the importance of love, of friendship, and camaraderie, and but when you can share that, you share the spark of divinity with someone. It's and it happens often through the most lowly of people. Hi, LUE-YEE.
Oh,
Hi, Britton.
am I?
Who's buzzing?
My phone's buzzing for some. Okay, I need to.
LUE-YEE's in his hover car. Did the chat break? Hello?
Hello? I think we're having technical problems again.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark. I couldn't hear anyone
you can?
for a while. Yeah, I can hear you.
That was a bit weird. I can only hear you. I can't hear Ian or anybody.
Yeah. Anyone else say anything? Something?
You apparently.
Hey, LUE-YEE, I can hear you.
Hey.
LUE-YEE, that's the best connection we've ever had.
I know.
I'm on data on my phone.
Wow.
Maybe I should turn off video.
Yeah, I can't hear Ian.
Ian's maybe stepped away for a moment.
Yeah, to our sizable audience, please bear with us. We have our crack equipment crew
Oh no, he's gone.
dealing with this. Oh, uh-oh.
It's just a mime today, except since we can't see him, there's not much miming going on.
Well, he did say that he might have some computer issues, and he said if he gets disconnected, he might not be able to get back. And if that does happen, I guess the chat like self-destructs kind of within 5 minutes. Like it doesn't keep going.
It still says live.
Yeah, no, he said it's like a 5 minute, like if he doesn't get logged back in within 5 minutes, it could.
All right. Tense.
Literally be Hitler.
Yeah, I'm literally shaking right now.
I'm literally calling SPLC right now.
Hangout is Hitler.
Hey, is this live or what's going on here?
Hey, Britton. Yeah, we're live, but we may be on borrowed time if Ian doesn't log back in soon.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
depends what your
Hey,
definition of
not
is.
real quick. Not real quick. Tell me if it's
Oh, all I can hear is buzzing now.
okay. Well, I'm gonna plug my headphones in. Hopefully they work.
Cool.
So he says his computer is being a piece of junk at the moment.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's what he was mentioning earlier. That might happen.
My headphones aren't working right now for some reason. So, I probably got to get back to work before too long.
Are you on break?
Yeah. I sat down for a break and saw y'all talking.
Britton, I'm seeing more sky than I'm seeing.
Say again?
I think he said he sees more sky than he sees of you. There we go.
Yeah, shalom.
I've been landing, and actually, fun thing happened. I was clearing out some weeds or brush with this beast, and felt something hit my face. Didn't think anything of it. Went to about 15 minutes later, went through my beard, get all the trash out. Felt like a twig there. I was like, oh, I guess a twig got stuck in my beard, and started pulling, and my skin started coming up. I was like, oh, that's not on my beard. That's on my face.
Was it?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep, can hear you.
Okay, what happened before was my window just like froze on me, and I was muted, so I couldn't say anything. And when it finally unfroze, like I kept saying, "Hello, hello, can you hear me?" And nobody was responding, so I just figured it's doing this crap again. So I closed the window and had to wait for it to reload again. So I guess everything's working now. So,
Yeah, what's the topic of today's conversation?
You're trying to talk about hungering and thirsting after righteousness and being a light to others and being an example to others, that kind of thing.
That's cool.
I don't know about you. I'm just hungering for bread and circuses. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry guys.
More
I'm
Hunger Games.
probably gotta get going now. I just came by to say hi. Hopefully I'll be able to, depending on how long y'all are gonna continue doing this, hopefully I'll be home and ready to talk if y'all are still on.
Yeah.
All right,
My computer's still functional.
Be careful of anything else hitting you in the face.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Good to see you, Britton. God bless.
Good to see you too. God bless. All right,
Yep.
bye.
Megabus is late. I'm waiting here for Megabus to get here to make sure that my father gets on Megabus because he needs to get home.
What's Megabus?
Megabus is like in the UK a very cheap bus service. Or I say very cheap. It's sort of like it depends how far you're going, obviously, but like a 5-hour trip to London can be as low as like £15.
Yeah, Edinburgh to London was pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Are you in the UK
I just
now,
can't
LUE-YEE?
imagine you catching the Megabus.
Are you in the UK, LUE-YEE?
No. Megabus also runs on the East Coast, so
Oh, does it? Oh, I didn't know that.
it runs to DC.
咁多人應該唔怕啦，咁你如果有咩意喐，我打翻俾你好噶啦，咁你走啦，
OK
食嘢好噶啦。
Bye.
I heard Chinese.
Mission accomplished. Dad's on the megabus.
Well, pretty much.
I thought LUE-YEE had been
There's
apprehended
basically
by the
there-
Red
there's
Guard.
a whole TikTok Photoshop problem.
Do you need to do you need to radio into HQ now? Like the asset has been deployed.
Oh, yeah.
I was at a time we heard Joshua's parents talking in the background about strawberries or something, or raspberries, I think it was. It was just a funny, random moment.
You just never know what you're.
Yeah, but they were talking English, not kanji.
Is kanji an actual language or just a writing system?
No, kanji's
No.
I think
You
it
don't
just means
understand
letter,
it.
doesn't it?
Every time we talk, just these sinograms pour out of our mouths.
Pour out of the mouth, and they're going to appear in like little speech bubbles, right?
Yeah.
Because I am just magical. Because guess what? Magic is known only to carrion.
So what?
Why you've never seen it? Because I'm one of the few Takarian jinx.
Nice.
You're one of the other real chosen. Forget the JQ.
This is getting too esoteric for me.
Oh, you think this is too
Oh, man.
esoteric?
Well,
You should see my esoteric shitposting.
well, I am among the bottom 90% in intelligence in this chat. Ian and I, we kind of
We're duking it out to see who's the least intelligent here. Hey, you want to talk about the monkeys again?
Good competition.
talk about the monkeys.
There's an episode called Monkeys Chow Mein where they're battling these villains from China, and it's full of stereotypes, but it's a really funny episode. Probably one of the funniest of the series.
You really do know a lot about the monkeys. I kind of thought you were.
I told you, I have both seasons on DVD. I've seen every episode multiple times. I mean, I'm not exactly a casual fan.
Yeah, you're
Wait,
a
the
pro.
Monkeys was the TV show?
Yeah, the group, the Monkeys, they were created for a television show.
Oh, I thought it was just a group. I didn't know they had a show.
Oh no, you didn't know that? Yeah, I used to when
No.
I was a kid. I used to see reruns of the Monkeys on TV, and I knew the band. I assumed it was like that they were a band, and then they were so popular they got their own TV show. But no, actually, they were created for the TV show. I learned that when I got older.
Bloody hell.
I'm having pens run out on me.
Oh, I hate that. I bought a big pack of these really cheap pens a while back, and these things frustrate me because the ink doesn't give you a consistent stream, so I have to keep going over everything I wrote multiple times. Next time I'm going to buy some good pens.
Drawing pens or writing pens, Ian?
Just writing pens.
Ah.
So like I try to write my
A
journal, and
Byron,
then I'm
as we
sitting
say.
here going, come on, stop doing this crap. Hey, now I have to hold it just the right angle or the ink doesn't come out right.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to like lick them to get to get the ball on the end to turn.
Yeah.
They get kind of stuck. These are cheap. I got very
Well,
cheap
that's just
stationery.
because you lads, you've forgotten the art of, going out back and finding a goose or a dove feather, taking out your penknife, and making a little making a little quill for yourself. I mean,
Plastic pens are absolutely haram.
yep.
Implying that I'm not writing with a brush.
That's true. You are a Chinaman.
I sign in blood.
I'm still partial to my wax seal.
This establishment accepts signatures in blood only.
Yeah, that's what I do.
You're right on
Blasting
papyrus
Bobby.
too.
As long as you don't use the papyrus font.
Oh, that's
You can write on papyrus, just don't use the papyrus
Yes.
font. Please, for the love of God, don't use the papyrus font.
Yes.
If you print something on papyrus with papyrus font, does it open up a trans-dimensional gateway?
probably.
Yes.
I would not attempt it. I would. I would be.
break anyway.
What if you send something written with the courier font through a courier?
Oh Lord.
So that's yeah.
Okay, that scared off LUE-YEE.
I think he just typed on a piece of papyrus with the papyrus font, and there you go. That's what you get.
Oh, if you hear back, I hope LUE-YEE can return at some point and then let us know what he experienced.
Yeah. So did William ever make it back, or
he's probably still on the phone?
He's you know, he did have an open bottle of whiskey, so who knows?
Well, he said that he might have to leave at some point to have his birthday dinner, so it might end up with him just sitting here forgetting to sign out. So he'll be in the chat, but he won't be present. Didn't Babylonian Hebrew have a hangout a long time ago where he fell asleep in the middle of it? So like it's 8 hours long, but like the second half is just nothing. Like
yeah,
the other two guys,
he did.
It was funny. That was a long time ago, but I remember that.
Welcome back, LUE-YEE.
Is that your steering wheel?
Yes.
You're driving on the left side of the road? Or the right side of the road?
I'm not driving on the left side of the road.
It kind of looked like the steering wheel's on the right side.
Durham.
Hold on, is LUE-YEE driving the megabus?
Driving the megabus, come on, man.
Chinese people don't drive buses, except in China.
Although, come to think of it, Asian driver and a megabus,
Well, at least you're male, so you'll be okay.
Yeah, Monarchist Autist is asking us about the sin of sloth. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
What about it?
Well, I just typed back to him, you know, start by walking. And this is something I've mentioned to, I think I mentioned it to you, Ian. I think this is particularly applicable to Europeans, although not limited to Europeans. It's if you have woods near you, like woodlands, I hike between 3 to 5 miles each day, and it's, you know, I'm older than most guys in here, so it's kind of probably more important for me. But I mean, just that, you know, is it is good exercise, but it's also very pleasant. It's also relaxing. It's enjoyable. That's usually when I pray my rosary, is when I'm hiking with the dogs. So that's you know, I mean, beyond that, you can there's plenty you can do, but that's a good way to start, because a lot of people look at it, I think, as as black and white. It's like, here I am, I'm not in shape. That's where I want to be completely in shape. You know, this is kind of you know, sort of in between. You know, just walking every day.
Yeah, but you're a thin guy. See, you're just naturally thin, I think, Lumen. You look thin when I've seen you.
Yeah, but when I get out of shape, you know, when I, like, at the peak of my illness, like, I honestly had trouble getting out of bed. I was so sick, and that's when I, you know, like, my diet slips then too, and so I have a thin frame, but, you know, I look kind of like I don't know, like a small, like a garden hose with a tennis ball in it. You know, you can see, like, the, you know, I'm thin, but there's a gut.
That's a big head. It's like an orange on a toothpick.
Yep. Yeah. So walking. I mean, again, especially in the woods. And I understand that not everyone lives near the woods, but you know, just like I have the health app on my iPhone. I'm looking at it right now. Today, I hiked 4.3 miles, and I climbed the equivalent of 27 flights of stairs. So,
wow,
you know, I'm in my 40s. You know, I can do that. Then, you know, and once you're doing that, it does increase your energy. It's good for your serotonin and dopamine and endorphins, and it gets you a little bit more inspired to, you know, perhaps do more beyond that. But it's a good way to start, I would say. That's my advice.
It's good advice. I mean, it's good to know. I do jobs that require me to stand up for long periods of time, but I don't do like a ton of physical activity. But standing up is at least better than sitting down.
Yeah, I work standing up too, when I draw and illustrate and etc.
Oh, that's good.
Mark, what do you do to keep your youthful figure?
Implying I'm not an esoteric Jabba the Hutt. I don't need
picture Mark
to
as
do
being
much,
fat,
to be
but
honest. Yeah, you shouldn't. I don't do much, to be honest. I never put on weight. I've got a weird metabolism. It has got actually there's a medical name for it, but
Yeah, mine's pretty.
it basically stops me it stops me putting weight. I just literally burn through it. So I actually have to sort of eat
You're implying that
more than other people.
Are you saying something, LUE-YEE?
he's implying that putting on weight is even possible.
Well, am I the only one here who's capable of gaining weight?
I just can't do it. I
Well, Mark,
actually
Mark,
tried for a period.
Mark, are you younger than 30?
Yeah, I'm younger than 30.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same metabolism as you, even now. I mean, but it did start to plateau a little bit, like once I hit 30, 31. And I used to smoke too. I mean, I quit that a long time ago, but I do. But yeah, I definitely had a pretty degenerate lifestyle. But the thing is, you know, the sin of sloth. I mean, it's also, you know, it can happen to people who are you know, skinny by nature, people who are a little bit bigger by nature. It's just
it just means laziness. It just means it doesn't just mean not going on a hike or anything. You know, it can be laziness in seeing something that should be done and not doing it, you know, just kind of apathy. You know, there's a spiritual laziness which is arguably even worse than the physical laziness that you might suffer from.
It is a kind of a holistic thing, though. I think, like, I not necessarily so, but I think it is. And again, you know, I've recently been starting to recover from a long-term illness, and you know, when you're not, you know, moving physically, you're having a hard time with it, or whatever. It does kind of, you know, sort of seep into other areas of your life, and
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just again, you know, getting out, you know, like Ian and I were talking about earlier, making sure you get to mass once a week, you know, little things like that, you know, once you're doing it, it does kind of, it starts to become a habit, which will, you know, hopefully supplant, you know, other habits that you'd like to lose, and it also, you know, just kind of, because you're feeling a little bit better, it kind of opens you up to, you know, pursuing other healthy endeavors, spiritual, physical, mental, whatever. But I will say, you know, just and for me, you know, having a dog helps. I have a young dog, and you know, if I want some peace at night, I have to get her out hiking. So she's a cross between a German wire-haired pointer and a Labrador. So she's, you know, a hunting breed, and she's pretty skinny because of the pointer, and she needs to get out there. So it's, when I do that, you know, I even if I'm tired, even if I'm stressed out about something, you begin to feel a little bit better, as you know, when you walk for a mile or so, it starts affecting you physically and mentally, and it's again, that's when I usually pray my rosary. So you know, the sins, you know, mortal sins, and anything else that's going on in your life that you know is unhealthy, and it's a good thing if you even notice that something's unhealthy and you're looking to address it. You know, that's something that sadly most people don't even, that's a point at which they don't arrive. But you know, I think we too often take the approach of looking at, I told Ian, my thesis advisor, when I was working on my thesis, told me, you know, and it's kind of corny, but it's true, you know, the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, something like that. because it was a big project, and I think that's how a lot of us, need to approach these things. Like, you can, maybe you need to get into shape, maybe you need to be, I don't know, maybe you need to work on gluttony, whatever. Just start doing it, and even if you're not seeing a lot of results at first, even if you feel like you're not doing as well as you want to be doing, just keep doing it.
We're getting a lecture in the text chat about lifting. Do we all need to lift more?
Everybody needs to lift more.
Yeah, I
can
do.
never really lift enough,
Yeah. Go ahead, Ian.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything more to say. Just, yeah, I've been trying to exercise. I don't know. I go through periods where I exercise a lot, and then I go through periods where I just don't want to lately.
Yeah,
I
same.
just haven't had the energy to do it.
Well,
I've been getting out more and focusing on other things. So,
well, the weird thing for me is, about 3 years ago is when I was really, starting to get ill, and but a couple of years, a year and a half or so before that was when I had been really living, more healthy than I ever had in my life. I cut out all sugar and all simple carbs. I was starting to lift. I was doing, there's this exercise regimen called foundation training, and it's about strengthening up your back and like I don't remember the name of the muscles in the back of your thighs and your glutes. It's just like it helps you to strengthen your core. And I was doing a lot of that stuff. And I was, I've mentioned this to you, Ian. I wasn't looking to, be like, all pumped and manly. I was just, I just wanted to be healthy. But and then I got sick and I kind of got knocked on my butt. But yeah, I mean, anything you can do, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, etc., to kind of contravene, the modern program is going to be good for you. And I think that's probably why a lot of guys on the alt-right and traditional and reactionary circles, kind of dwell on that. And anything you can do. And again, these are things that used to be more normal. Even the aristocracy, they would have their morning constitutional. They would, they'd go to Yale and do calisthenics. And I mean, these are just normal things. And the average man would labor. And so anything you can do to, to not do what everyone is, okay with doing is probably going to be good for you.
Yeah, I've more or less accepted that I'm not going to be a physical specimen ever, but I would like to at least be healthy.
Yeah, I mean, St. Paul mentioned, that our body is a temple.
Yep. Who's your avatar of Mark? There seems to be some debate about that. You there? Mark? Did that cut out again?
Uh-oh.
Okay, I hear you, Lumen.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't hear Mark. I can see he's still there. His microphone is on.
Okay, well.
I don't remember who his avatar is either.
They were debating whether it's Moda or Kodrianu.
I think it actually is Kodrinu. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Another talking about my Dalrymple avatar, and LUE-YEE puts Dalrymple in parentheses. Well, actually, yes, he is. Actually, his mother was Jewish, but that's I don't think he considers himself a Jew. Like, he's not religious or anything, or he seems like he's just English as far as his own identity.
Yeah, according to the tribe, he's Jewish because it's matrilineal. But yeah, I mean, it's you know, there are times when, you know, someone like him, for example, they actually do identify more with, and there are, I mean, that's kind of an interesting topic. You know, the people who do live in Western societies who might, you know, might conventionally be seen by people like us, I mean, as being at odds, you know, with Europeans who do, you know, genuinely seem to have more affinity, you know, with our society than they do with their particular ethnic group.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes.
What happened there?
Sorry, I'm having a few problems here, but
Oh, well, it's not your fault. The important thing to
You
remember
guys
is
are
it's
cutting.
not your fault.
You're still going to get your participation trophy for the night. Don't worry.
I was actually quoting a Conan O'Brien sketch where he used to do those parodies of the public service announcements that they'd have on NBC, and they would always be really stupid public service announcements, making a joke out of them. And he's like, so your parents are getting divorced? The important thing is to remember, it's not your fault. Because after all, you never refused to clean your room or got mad when they asked you to eat your vegetables. Did you? Yes, you did. Oh no. What have you done? And that's how the PSA ends.
Is that an old or a recent Conan?
That's from the 90s. I don't really watch Conan anymore.
I haven't seen him since the 90s. It's been a long time. So Mark, who is it? Mark, who is it on your avatar?
Oh, my avatar, Ion Moza.
Yep, that's what they're saying in the text chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, quid est veritas. Guessed it.
Quid est veritas, I think, is how you would say that.
Yeah, I mispronounced it. It is the truth, right? This is the truth. Is that what that means?
Something about truth, I think.
I should pronounce Latin a little bit better. I go to Latin Mass every week. I'm hanging my head in shame right now.
Quid est veritas apparently can't hear anything, but he's hanging out in the text chat. And it's fun to know that our text chat is that fun.
Yeah, he's at work. He mentioned he was at work.
Maybe he's just watching our avatars pop up and imagining what we must be saying. That
someone put a meme up on my Twitter feed the other day, and it was like a young blonde kid, looked like he's maybe 12 or 13, and he's, you know, on a laptop, and his mother's like leaning over his shoulder with this concerned look on her face, and she's like, "Steven, Aryan Warrior 88, is that you? Is that your Twitter handle?" And he's like, "Mom, me and my friends are saving the white race. You wouldn't understand."
I like how Honest Iago said, "I hate how foreigners pronounce Latin," as if he's from some country that still speaks Latin.
No, I wish I pronounced it better. You know, it's a. I will say,
Honest Iago is living in ancient Rome.
Yeah, he's he's or he's on, you know, the Iberian Peninsula, or who knows. Yeah, I mean, I've always loved Latin and Greek roots, and I was, you know, I was drilled on them by my parents when I was a kid. You know, I didn't appreciate it as a kid, but, you know, appreciation and love of the English language was definitely inculcated into me as a kid, and I appreciate it now.
I actually took some Latin in high school, but I forgot most of it. But
I noticed there's a GCHQ spy in the chat who wants me to reveal myself to him. I'm not falling for it, MI6.
Yeah, they got Tommy Robinson, and now they're like, if we can only get.
Well, yeah, I mean they got
Citadel.
millennial woes.
Yeah, I was gonna say they want to have the triumvirate. Like just take down the.
I'm hardly the triumvirate.
Yeah.
You millennial was in Tommy Robinson.
Well, I was saying to Ian earlier when we were talking in private. Like we're just like, talking about how some people are, they're devoted to fascism, they're devoted to National Socialism, and I'm like, I don't know, what, if we can, get through the the cataclysm and start rebuilding. Who knows what's going to come together as a form of government for whites. And I said, I do worry that that if it's one particular very narrow ideology, it will start excluding and perhaps persecuting others and who don't necessarily fall into line. And I was like, well, we can just get millennial woes, Richard Spencer and Mark Citadel, and make them the triumvirate, and they can figure it out between the three of them. That should cover everything.
Okay.
So do you accede? Do you accede to that, Mark?
I will, yes.
Good.
Weird. I think Richard Spencer would be kind of outnumbered with that group, though.
Yeah, but he needs that. He needs that balance. He needs two guys with that have real guy hair. Two guys that are like hey, I don't have perfect fash hair, but I have a sound brain and grasp of history, and I have morals.
Oh, I've actually got like an afro, so.
Really?
Is it a rainbow afro or just a regular one?
It's actually like purple.
Sweet.
Is it a Jufro?
A Jufro. No, I'm actually black. Most people don't know that, but.
Okay. I thought that's why your voice is so deep.
Yeah, don't.
I come back on Jufro?
Yes, you did.
Hey, William. Marcus talking about how he has an afro. You there, William?
I am. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut into your conversation.
No, we're
idea
just
what you've been talking about.
We're just.
Yeah, it was a very important and profound conversation that you interrupted.
That was punctuated with Jufro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark's actually black. He says.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, didn't know that.
What's up, my nigger?
Come on.
Oh,
Don't use that language in here, please.
Oh no, he didn't.
I think he said it with an A, so that's okay.
No, I simply heard an R.
Oh, that's just my Canadian accent. We put R's on the end of our A's.
Go to Africa and Cuba.
Africa, yeah.
Georgia.
Source size, this is a black nationalist stream. That's what it's become. Panthers in the house, yeah.
Yeah, even Canadians, even when they go to use the common like the friendly derisive term of hose, like you call someone a hose, even then they're like hoser.
Yeah, hoser.
So I think that's why Mark added the R. Yeah, Mark, that's a Canadian. It's kind of a bant. It's like hoser. You're a real hoser, eh?
You're a
like
total
Bob
hoser, eh?
McKenzie.
Yeah.
Don't they call people from Indiana hosers?
No, it's Hoosiers.
Hoosier.
What? Hoosiers?
Hoosier. So, yeah,
okay. I
thought LUE-YEE
saying that when I was in America.
I'm curious. I've always wondered, like, is the geography of the United States well known outside of America, like in Europe? I mean, all the states. Is that because America just has a big cultural presence?
Sadly, I think that's true.
Mark lived in.
I don't know anyone who could name all 50 states.
Yeah, but they'd be at least familiar with different. Would they be familiar with different regional cultures? Like people might know about the South versus California.
Oh yeah, they'd know that. I think they'd know that. They probably wouldn't know very much about the Midwest at all. You know, the places that get popularized are the Deep South, New York, obviously, and then California. I mean, maybe people know a little bit about New England because of
Family Guy.
Stephen King books and Murder, She Wrote, and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I would.
Yeah, I always wonder how much of our media is exported to European countries or the rest of the Anglosphere.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, more and more, you know, the degeneracy, you know, the merchant degeneracy, which is found, you know, full flower in our culture. You're just finding it everywhere. You know, I've seen it in Asia, in the Philippines, and I was listening to E. Michael Jones talking to Heinrich on Red Ice, and he was talking about how he was seeing it in India. I think he was saying his pastor is Indian, and that's why he was there. But so I do think it's, you know, it's just exported everywhere, and it's sick. It's sad.
It's a sick, sad world.
I
Did anyone get that reference?
It is no.
Oh, never mind.
I didn't get it. Sorry.
Oh, do you remember that show Daria that used to be on MTV? It was like a
Yes.
recurring.
Who doesn't remember that?
Yeah. It was actually a spin-off from Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. Sick, sad
Dario
world
was one of the
was-
original traditionalists.
He was.
Sort of.
That's true.
I've
I mean,
never
she
seen this.
diagnosed the problems of the modern world.
She was.
Yeah.
She was, you know, riding the implicit tiger.
Well, exactly. I think, you know, that's the only way you can interpret her sort of moodiness, I think.
Okay, so you know Daria too. I mean, I wasn't sure if that was before your time, even Mark, if you're not in your 20s.
Before my time. I am in my 20s, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but I mean, that show ended in like what, 2001 or something.
Yeah. So
I mean, I don't know if you ever saw it or not.
no, I was watching. I think maybe here it's more common for like younger kids to watch programs that are directed for older kids than more so than it is in America, perhaps. So yeah, I mean, I was watching South Park, and you know, actually back when South Park was animated in the original way, you know, that they would literally move pieces of paper around. Now
Yeah,
they
it
do
was
it all,
paper,
all
yeah.
on a computer. But yeah, I used to. I remember specifically because it was Daria, and there's it was King of the Hill, Daria.
Simpsons.
Then you had then you had South Park. Simpsons was on much earlier in the day. Simpsons was on around dinner time. And then after South Park, if you stayed up late enough, you could catch a claymation show called Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was from the same era.
People probably
Late
remember
90s
that one.
on MTV.
Yeah, I remember all that vividly.
I remember seeing an article years ago about in the UK they voted The Simpsons was voted the best children's show, or our favorite children's show. I'm like, I didn't know that was a children's show.
Yeah,
It was a children's show.
Well, they got their start on a British. Tracy Ullman is.
Oh, that's right.
British, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
believe so.
they got their start on her show.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think that aired in the U.S. too, didn't it?
Yeah, that just popped in my head. I'm sorry, it's kind of a non sequitur.
You got to also bear in mind, you guys got cable and satellite long before we did. I think, as far as I remember, so we still had time-based programming. So something would be on at 7, and that, you know, you only had 5 channels. So if you were, and channel 5 was very unreliable as to when it was actually working or not. So you know, you really had to fight. You couldn't just flick through and find anything you wanted. And Simpsons was on when most kids ate their dinner between, I think, 5 and 6. And thus, you know, unless it was a proper family meal, you'd be sat in the kitchen Yeah, one of those little CTR televisions that used to be so popular in the kitchen, and we'd just sit eating dinner watching Simpsons. And I know several people my age who that was exactly the same experience, because it would occupy us and prevent us from throwing food at each other.
Yeah.
Plus, you get that that perhaps not with you, but you get that indoctrination at the same time. It's a win-win.
Simpsons back then wasn't.
It wasn't quite
It was
as
before Simpsons became totally awful. I wouldn't watch it ever today, but I think back during the '90s, Simpsons was still funny, at least. I mean, you could probably go back and find certain little annoying messages, but you can do that with anything, any piece of media now that once you're red pilled, you can go back and be really cynical about it. I tend to choose not. I've got enough to be cynical about that's being produced today.
Well, maybe you don't remember, Mark. Maybe this was before you were born, but when The Simpsons first came out, it was actually pretty controversial. Back in '89 or whenever it started. I remember. I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah. Same with it was followed by Married with Children, which was always lowbrow, but it was. I remember. I was a very young man, but I remember like how scandalous it was, and I recently. I think they put it up on a in the last year or so, an episode of The Daily Show. There's this little meme. It says how slutty girls dressed on TV in the '90s, and it showed some scene from Married with Children, and then it said how good girls dress in today, and the good girls supposedly is probably like a Disney Channel show or something. They're dressed worse. It's like, so yeah, I mean, it's happened so fast. The full court press of degeneracy is just it's just been accelerated like tremendously.
Yeah, women just young they dress like prostitutes would have dressed in the '80s.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember watching Saved by the Bell. My mother commenting how she's like, "What kind of garbage are they wearing?"
Yeah.
It was from like the early '90s even. But
it happened so fast.
That looks pretty tame.
I mean, all the pieces were in place, for it to happen. It's not like all of a sudden there was this big, sudden, unexpected turn to full-on Weimar culture. But it once it really, I guess, the traditional, overplaying their hand, which seems to happen with these folks every time, it just really just seems to have happened so quickly.
Yeah. Did you get Saved by the Bell in the UK, Mark?
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
It was.
And I bet William and Lumen are too old for Saved by the Bell, aren't they?
Yeah, I knew about it, but I never watched it.
Yeah,
okay.
my kids watched it.
So there you go. Yeah, I'm the only one who's for the right time and place for that, I guess. Of course, even I only really saw it in reruns. I mean, it was, I guess it started in the late '80s and went to the early '90s, but I didn't start watching it till I was in reruns when I was a teenager, or so, like 12 maybe. But yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta head out, guys. Unfortunately.
Sorry to bore you with TV talk.
No, it's just it's getting pretty late again, and I don't want to fall asleep like a Babylonian Hebrew. So.
Oh yeah. Thanks for coming, Mark. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, it was great to see you, Mark.
Good to talk to you.
Nice.
Sorry I was gone so long.
Talk soon, guys. Bye.
Okay, bye. Yeah, have a good one. Bye. So now it's just the three of us.
Yeah.
So LUE-YEE or Britton or whoever comes back.
And then there were three.
What happened to the two of those guys? They were in and then they left.
Well, LUE-YEE said he had to eat dinner or something, or he had to get food, which is understandable. Should we do some Crowder posting? I think that was missing from the last. I've tried to come up with funny lines for Crowder to say, and I've been working on this one. If people tell you that the United States is anti-Semitic, point out that Hollywood is run by Jews, and we love movies. Would we do that if we were anti-Semitic? This is more proof that Democrats are the real anti-Semites.
Yep.
Yeah.
Works.
That's some
Works
great
for me.
logic there, Crowder.
I think that's the only impression I've done well on here. My impression of LUE-YEE was pretty bad.
You did a LUE-YEE impression?
Oh yeah, didn't you hear the end of that that 8-hour hangout we did where at the end of it I started doing impressions of people?
No, I should go tap into that. Looking
Yeah,
at
the last
8
hour.
hours is pretty daunting.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
on
last
for a
hour.
few of the hours, and I thought,
Yeah. We even got late night Bill to care about something. That's how late we were up.
oh wow. Late night.
Yeah, let's see, who else did I do? I did Hillary Clinton, I did Bill Clinton, I did Gregory.
I'll have to listen.
Yeah.
Has anyone heard from Gregory? I was kind of hoping he would be here tonight.
I did invite him. I don't know if he's coming or not though.
Maybe we poke too much fun at him when he's not on.
No, I think he's
He's
I think
a pretty good sport.
we should have asked Mark. Honest Jago says we should have asked Mark to make the impression of PJ Watson. Maybe Ian can. Let's see, Paul Joseph Watson. I don't watch him enough to really have a sense of his voice. I would just be doing some generic British accent if I were doing him.
You know,
I love my white male privilege.
I'm heading into the vibrant gay district right now.
Yeah.
He actually
Seriously, no homo.
he posted something. I don't follow him on Twitter, but I inevitably get, you know, he tweets up. He turns up on my feed all the time from other people, and he quoted Senator John McCain tweet about McCain was upset about something Trump did, or and Paul Joseph Watson, he kind of lost it a little bit, but I actually appreciated it. You know, I'm not a big fan at all of PJW, although again, I mean, he is a stepping stone for a lot of our brethren, and he will, you know, he is just like anyone else. He is a Nazi. I mean, that's kind of what it's all coming down to. But anyway, he quoted this John McCain tweet, and it was something to the effect of, when is there going to be an investigation into your dealings that led to thousands of deaths in Libya and Syria, you monstrous piece of shit. I'm sorry. I
It sounds like something Mark would write.
I don't usually swear, but yeah, I mean, I saw that and I was like, wow. I was kind of just, yeah, I think you can kind of get this delusion on Twitter. You know, you're yelling. I think actually Keith Olbermann has recently been suffering from that delusion. You know, you get this impression like people are listening to you almost, you know, and that's what I was thinking of, you know, like John McCain having to sit there and listen to someone say that, because it's true.
Yeah. Keith Olbermann, I forgot about him. He's so irrelevant.
He's very forgettable, and except as fodder for, I guess for the derision of folks like us when we have nothing better to do. You know,
Steven Crowder actually did a funny sketch where he spoofed Keith Olbermann. That was years ago, but it was actually really good. And like, he's kind of, I guess if on his show he would like constantly be switching camera angles, and like he kind of spoofed that by having the camera angles constantly flipping, and
yeah, like turns his head dramatically.
Like, you are a racist, and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, it was a funny sketch. I should link to that.
Yeah, he's a pretty deranged guy.
Yeah.
So, welcome back, LUE-YEE.
Hello, I'm happy to be back. I can't do a good LUE-YEE impression. It's bad.
That wasn't too bad.
No, LUE-YEE will probably tell me how bad it was.
He can do a way
Right,
better
LUE-YEE.
LUE-YEE impression.
He's holding back.
Okay,
He's
you
playing,
punched me. Go ahead.
He's
My
being
computer's also being slow, so there's also that.
latent LUE-YEE.
Implicit
latency.
LUE-YEE.
What? That doesn't exist. Actually, there is only implicit me.
LUE-YEE is really a state of mind. And once you achieve that state of mind, you realize it's not even a state of mind.
I think that LUE-YEE is the last stand of implicit whiteness. That's my bad Richard Spencer impression. We need to form an identity.
LUE-YEE's not even willing to go to the gym.
Do you even lift, bruh?
I should. I really should.
It's a LUE-YEE state of mind. Trying to come up with the sound lingo, sound logo for LUE-YEE state of mind.
What is that, Billy Joel?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, New York state of mind. Yeah, that's all. We just have to change it with LUE-YEE.
All right, I'm gonna steer the discourse into, deeper intellectual waters, if I may.
Okay.
And this is just something I think that people in the chat will probably be able to relate to this. I'm assuming that most of them are Christian, or at least interested in it, see the value of Christianity to our culture, to our people. But something that occurs to me, and I don't want to come across as being judgmental. That's important. That's important as a Christian, and as speaking it as part of. I use the term alt-right. It encompasses just a lot of us. But something that occurs to me is how there are a lot of people that are in this movement, and they see just the horrors, just the dangers, the results, that are right in front of our faces of modernism, and they understand that degeneracy is has kind of achieved critical mass, and everything's kind of circling the drain right now. But what I notice is, and I would actually, again, to not sound judgmental, I will include myself in this category occasionally, at least, that without Christianity, unless you're just a really, I don't know, maybe like someone like Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic, you're still kind of suffering from that degeneracy. Like I'll find, nationalists and guys on that consider themselves alt-right, posting, degenerate pictures and swearing a lot, and just kind of, it's I'm not blaming them, because this is what happens when you're immersed in this culture from birth. So it's just something that I think about, where barring, and this is just a salubrious effect that Christianity has always had on peoples. It will, it's kind of an inoculation. It protects us from degeneracy. So I was just wondering if you guys noticed that too. I mean, even though, again, not judging people, and these people are our allies. We need to work with them. We need to, we're all moving in the same direction, here on Earth, if not spiritually. But it's something that it makes me kind of sad, honestly, that a lot of us are, still kind of, even though we're red-pilled, whatever, still kind of struggling. And some of them, I think, to their credit, they know it, but still struggling with the effects of that degeneracy from modernism.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about having communities. I mean, I think it takes a lot of times, it helps to have a community to encourage you to not do those things. But like, I mean, I can even say from my own life, I used to visit this website many years ago that had a lot of profanity on it and had a lot of, a lot of explicit discussions of certain things. And I remember like I would read this website like every day, and I just kind of got used to the tone there. And but then I just after a while just kind of got bored with the website and stopped visiting it. And then like several months later, I decided, why don't I go back to that website and check it out? And I was reading it again. It was just like, holy cow! Like this stuff is like so like because I hadn't been reading it for so long, it was like totally. It was like shocking to me almost how like graphic it was on with the stuff they talked about. So so it's like if you immerse yourself in something, it's going to affect your sort of mental calibration of what's normal and what's like acceptable to talk about. So I think it's like think on these things, which is good and true.
Mm-hmm. When I teach, I'm actually pretty strict about language. So I didn't allow geez, darn, dang, tarnation.
Actually kind of surprised to hear those. I'm surprised to hear such profanity coming out of your mouth right now. I mean, I'm sorry. That's why it took me a little while to respond.
My gosh, you're gonna get this channel banned.
Gads, zounds.
Zounds.
That's actually zounds. It's actually short for God's wounds.
For God, yeah. So is he gads.
Yeah, like so. There is something sort of mildly profane about it.
It's like sacre bleu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even
neck.
Yeah, tabernacle.
I even like I was thinking today while I was out hiking, like how I came to, and I've told Ian this before, it took me a long time to really, even explore the alt-right in depth. I mean, I consider, I was a race realist and a traditionalist and a reactionary for a while before I really kind of, and it took me a while to explore it. I think part of it's just because I'm older, but I was thinking today, like I think I want to try to back off a little bit, with getting kind of caught up in all the memes. I've made a million memes, and it's fun, and I think it's served a very important purpose. It really has. It's been helpful, but for me, I think it's it's kind of gotten me a little bit further from thinking more about my soul and again, I'm not judging people. Everyone has their part to play, but yeah, it's just been on my mind lately.
Yeah, I think you're. I remember kind of tearing into the guys at the Daily Stormer once, posting in there because they were all just. I mean, they're going on and on about how terrible the world is and how bad feminism is and all this stuff, and yet they're posting essentially pornographic memes in there, and it's like there was just something kind of just so dark, and so I felt bad in a way. I mean, I didn't grow up with kind of the internet and this kind of access to pornography in any way. Magazines was the kind of, and it's just very discouraging, to see that essentially you have a generation that is so wounded that somehow they have to get it into themselves, bring into existence a generation that is not as wounded as them. It's very much like that movie, The Village. I think that's just an excellent movie for kind of a metaphor for what we need to do. I mean, you have this older generation that feigns being better than they are in order to produce a new generation that isn't as corrupted as they are. And that's a very interesting thing. And I mean, because we can't, like, sure, we can kind of come to terms with our own corruption, our own degeneracy, we can be freed from it, sacrificial by the sacrifice of Christ and by the grace of God. But that doesn't mean, you know, we don't need to like communicate that some of the particulars of that salvation constantly, you know, ad infinitum into the future, because we're only perpetuating the degeneracy. Like there's certain things like it'd just be better if the world just was without them. I mean, human beings are prone to sin enough as it is. You don't need this kind of hyper state of visual and media stimulus that is just so corrupting and so degenerating to the soul. Anyway, it's this weird kind of well, it's almost heroic. I mean, we are called to be heroic. I can't say that I've done it necessarily with my kids other than through advising. I haven't, you know, made a total crackdown on what they're able to see. Maybe if I had small kids right now, with the way I see the world now, which has changed quite a bit, I would probably have a different way of approaching it. But anyway, we have, I mean, how do you, you know, we were talking about the great forgetting before, where we're forgetting those things that are most profound and good and stable and you know, based within kind of the natural law of our souls and of our lives together. Now we're talking the great degeneracy. This would be a, you know, a blessing. How does that forgetting come about without you know, just a collapse of society where there just isn't time for for such you know, frivolity?
I guess if we didn't have the I guess we didn't have these temptations to sin and be degenerate, then there'd be nothing particularly moral about not choosing it, because if it wasn't an option, you wouldn't have, like, there wouldn't be anything virtuous about avoiding it.
Yeah, I mean, there's free will, and there's also the, you know, the contrast that we need to appreciate anything. You know, that the only, you know, like, evil comes about because of good, and there's, you know, there's that contrast that we need, and it's also, you know, for me, and I thank God for this. I thank Christ for being there with me, you know, when I can do this. You know, there are also opportunities to, you know, take the beam out of my eye, you know, before, well, I can't say I always do it before, but, you know, at least if I'm, you know, noticing something like this going on with someone else, if I can recognize that in myself, then it's important. It's, you know, I mean, there you know, there are two sides to this. There's the first matter that I brought up of just noticing this, you know, on the alt-right, you know, it's, you know, there's these guys, and so many of these guys are really young, and I really appreciate that, and I admire that. It's super encouraging. They're struggling, you know, to, you know, heaven knows that my generation, you know, Generation X, you know, we might have noticed, you know, that there's, you know, something's awry, you know, something's not right, but you know, we didn't have the, you know, constitutional fortitude to you know, really struggle against it. And those of us that did,
We were deep.
you know, more often than not gave up, and I did, at least. But, you know, there's that. You know, these guys are trying, and again, because this is what they were raised in, it's difficult. It's difficult to flush all that out. So, you know, I noticed that. But, you know, at the same time, I don't remember what I lost my train of thought. But yeah, it is, personally, it's extremely helpful when I can remember, you know, my my faults too. And it's something, you know, I hope as time goes on, I think a lot of these younger guys they're pretty smart, and you know, if they could, you know, start figuring this stuff out at their age, or at least be amenable to these ideas at their age, then, you know, then they'll move on to, you know, as I did. You know, I didn't, you know, I didn't come back to Catholicism until, you know, I was in my 30s, and you know, I'd been an atheist for 10 years. So perhaps these younger guys will do the same thing, you know, at a earlier time, you know, which and I do see, again, you know, I attend the Latin Mass, so I see a lot of these younger guys, really smart, you know, young guys between, say, anywhere between like 16 and 24, maybe. You know, some of them are altar servers, and some of them have families already, and they're bright. And so, but it's just something that, it makes me sad, because this is something that, you know, another ethnic group has largely imposed on us, but it's also something that we, in our weakness, were open to, obviously, to a certain extent. And it's just really, when you can see a young guy who's, you know, obviously trying to better himself, trying to not only, you know, do good things for his people, for his heritage, for his descendants, but, you know, he's doing it in spite of this degenerate culture. He's actually willing to start picking up the mess of the, you know, of the generations that came before him, and it's kind of a Herculean task, you know, to not fall prey to some degeneracy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's not knowing the there's I suppose they don't know, because they don't have a kind of a tradition of transformation. They don't know there's a cost involved in making this change. It's just you know, purely political, or, you know, I don't like Jews, I don't like blacks, or something. It's kind of simple. It's just, it's an outlet for some sort of anger and frustration, but it's not, you know, the fundamental need for, you know, personal change is not, I mean, you know, workout, diet for yourself like that. I mean, they do talk about, you know, even chastity as being a good thing. So that, I mean, you know, getting at least your sexuality under control and not being completely governed by it. I mean, these are, there are certainly a lot of good things, but I don't know whether or not they understand the cost, and they don't have a tradition. If they're not accepting Christianity, they don't have a tradition to step into that kind of naturally nurtures the soul, corrects the soul, forms, you know, creates a new creature essentially out of kind of whatever random chaos we bring to it. But I gotta go, lads.
Yeah, thanks for coming, William. Yeah, you have to eat dinner or something?
Happy birthday.
Scott, I've got to get.
Yeah.
Thank you, sirs. I've got to get. I got to be at the church in an hour, and I just got to be prepared. So.
Yeah, definitely don't. You have good stuff to offer, so you want to make sure you convey it.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Good to see you, William.
Thanks for coming, William.
God bless, and
talking.
Keep it real.
We will.
Keep it real holy.
Yeah.
We need more people to come in, because I'm gonna. My father's bus has actually been delayed, so I'm gonna try to bring him food or something.
The Megabus saga.
Well, I invited several other people, but with these things, usually some people don't show up. Hold on a second. Let me check my email. I think there was somebody else who said he was going to come, but did Sam say he was going to come? I think Haven't seen Sam. He wasn't in the last one either. No, Sam didn't say. Okay, I remember I did mention Sam that there was going to be another one. Sorry, just technical stuff. You guys still there?
Yep, I'm here. I'm just.
Okay, yeah, just making sure. I didn't want to have this dead air time here.
I'm just
It's
drawing.
probably boring to people. Oh, you're drawing. I can hear sort of a scratching. I wasn't sure. That was something.
I'm gonna blame that on LUE-YEE because I had my microphone muted.
Okay. Are you drawing, LUE-YEE?
Are you drawing breath?
Well, yeah, there's that. I should try to draw a caricature of LUE-YEE.
That's a good idea.
Since I actually know what he looks like. Well, I know what you look like too, Lumen. I just you've drawn yourself several times though.
Yep. I was actually, I'm not going to say I was proud of myself, but I gave myself a laugh. I drew like an American Bear meme, kind of, you know, those Oath Keeper guys that are kind of signaling against Identity Europa. And I drew the guy. He's holding like a little booklet. It was like, it's like the Constitution for Real Patriots by Glenn Beck. I mean, I made it up, but the I was actually, I got a laugh out of my rendering of Glenn Beck. Thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Have you shown me that one?
No, I just did it the other night.
Okay.
It's on Twitter. Like if you look through my media, you know, on Twitter. I mean, I could post it in here, I think. I don't know if I can post it in. Actually, I can put it on my Google Drive, and then I'll give everyone the link.
Well, you could or we could share it through we could share it through the screen share maybe. Let's see if I can do that.
Yeah, let's see. Let me find it. Let's see.
The Constitution for Real American Patriots.
Yeah, actually, I think I made it like Constitution for Real American Patriots. It's let's see here.
Trying to pull it up here. Let me see.
Yeah, I'll upload it. Okay, so.
I hate my computer freezes on me, or my browser freezes on me. I have Firefox and Chrome open at the same time.
Okay. I just I'm putting a link. There we go.
All right, let's see this. I'm sure this is very exciting for our listeners.
Yeah.
Trust us, it gets better.
Yeah, it probably would be good if I did a screen share to show everyone.
Tell me I need permission to get access.
Oh, for crying out loud. All right, I'll just do a screen share. Hold on. I'll open it in.
What's that, Louis?
Oh, I just said dun dun dun.
Suspense. Okay. All right, so let me do a quick screen share.
By the way, it looks like Giovanni Alighieri is actually being Giovanni Alighieri. I never know what to call him anymore. So on Twitter, he's back to using his old name, and when I invited him, he's using the old name too. So I don't know who he is anymore.
Who are you?
I don't know who you are anymore.
Like who are you to me? I don't understand.
Are you real? Are you just an anime girl?
I don't think I can. For some reason, I don't think I can do screen sharing in when we're doing a live Hangout. Let's see.
Yeah.
Well,
Huh, well, I don't know why that is. I think you'd be able to. I might be able to do it, but I'd have to get the link properly working.
I'll send you the email via. I'll send you the image via email message. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. See if this works. There we go. Okay.
All right. A second here. Let me. What's that? Ah. Things hard to navigate today. Wait a minute. Where did that? I apparently closed it. Did you send it, Lumen?
Yes, I sent it via the instant messenger in Gmail.
Okay, it's still loading here. Let me see.
I'll also email it.
Want to teach us Chinese while we're waiting, LUE-YEE? Teach us Cantonese. What's the first vocabulary word?
What? My first vocabulary word. The
Yeah,
letter
teach
of
us
the day
Cantonese
is
while we're waiting.
this show is brought to you by the word "hot," which means to brush.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, you tried.
Check your Gmail, sir.
Yeah, I see this image you just sent. It finally came up, but okay, here we go. Cuck boomers. Yeah.
See if I have it.
American Bear. Was this a Spurto kind of guy? All right, let me see if I can do a screen share of this now. So, okay, now how do we do this? Okay, screen share. Here we go. How do you say God in Cantonese, LUE-YEE?
Sun, or well, what God in what sense?
God, like the God we worship.
The one true God, that would be Sung Dai.
Sung Bai?
Sung Dai.
Interesting.
Or Shang Di in Mandarin. Like the God
Okay.
Emperor on high.
Okay, here's my Lumen Drew. Can you see this? Well, we can't see it if LUE-YEE's gonna type.
There we go.
Yep. You can see the Constitution. Let me see if we can zoom up a bit on that.
Yep, there's Glenn Beck.
Okay, I think I'm gonna check on the food, so I'll be back later.
Okay.
Okay.
Bon appetit. Yep. So anyone listening who needs a handcrafted meme, let me know. And we'll do business.
Well, that's how you zoom in. Shoot. I'm trying to zoom in on Glenn Beck here. Yeah, that rendering of Glenn Beck is very interesting. It's let me see if I can share it again. It'll be there. Can you see the Glenn Beck clearly now?
Yeah, yep, you can see it better.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I mean, I liked it just because, like, I was gonna make him crying. That's like what you. I mean, that's like the stereotypical. But then you know, it's like he's adopted this signaling kind of, you know, like hard signaling persona, and he just looks like so, you know, satisfied with himself, and that's kind of what I was trying to portray. Although, you know, when I was looking at it later, I was like, it looks a little bit like Al Franken.
Yeah, it kind of does actually. That's actually a lot worse than Glenn Beck, if such a thing is possible.
Yeah, I just posted a link to the Twitter image in the text chat. Yeah, so I mean, it's not easy to, you know, it does take a lot of practice to be able to caricature people. You know, you have to find their most prominent features and just kind of distill them. Like whenever you see Obama, it's always like the ears. Like people exaggerate them.
Yeah. Sometimes you stumble across a stroke of luck and the character just, you get it right on the first try, but other times it can be like you're just trying and trying, it just doesn't look like the person. It drives me nuts.
Yep.
I guess I was telling you guys in the past, I don't know if I was mentioned it on one of the live streams, I was trying to draw a caricature of Reality Calls, or Tara, I guess is her name. And it was so hard because like her face doesn't have any really distinctive features.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah. So yeah, it helps if somebody has like really distinctive features, because then you don't have to worry about, like, that can kind of set them apart. You know, what's funny about Tara is I guess she's moving to the U.S., isn't she? She's getting married and she's coming to the U.S. because I guess her husband must be American or something.
I haven't followed her for a while because I just didn't know what was going on with her. Like I saw her, or I heard her on a Millennial Woes. I think it was his, you know, a Millennial Hangout, like not the one that just went by, but 2015 to 2016.
Was she around back then?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really know her back then.
Yeah, and well, I didn't either. And you know, I heard a couple of her talks on YouTube, and like back then, I think she was talking about like veganism, and I think maybe she had just kind of started thinking about, you know, some more alt-right ideas, and she did, and I couldn't really follow her because I didn't know what was going on with her. What, you know, it seemed like, and she like kept deleting videos. Like I would hear about a video, and so I kind of didn't follow her for a while, but I did see something where she was sitting with her fiance, and he sounded American, and so I think you're right. I think, and I don't know if I should be able to discern this, but I couldn't tell if she was British or Australian.
She's from the UK, I know. Although she said her father is Irish, which is why her name is McCarthy.
Yeah. So that. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a recent live stream she did where she said she's moving to America to get married. But
yeah, good for her.
Interesting. It's interesting that sometimes when she talks, her accent does sound almost American. Like you can't really hear the British accent. So I wonder if over time her accent's going to sort of fade away.
Yeah, I think that does happen for some people. There are even cases of, you know, someone who comes from the South and they'll live in, I don't know, you know, Boston or Seattle or something for a while, and they start losing their accent, or the other way around.
Yeah.
But she has, I haven't watched it yet. I've just seen it show up in my, you know, suggested videos on YouTube. She does a show with, I believe it's Brittany Pettibone. And
yeah.
I don't know a lot about her either, but they do a show, like, and I want to say it's called The Virtue
of the West.
Yeah, yeah. So she's doing that, and yeah. So yeah, and and she's speaking at the AMREN conference this year.
Actually, I think in her recent live stream, she said she's probably not going to be able to do that after all because she might not. The travel expenses would be too difficult for her.
Ah, okay.
So I guess maybe she's canceling. I'm not really sure. I guess they're doing it in July this year. But yeah, I remember seeing her. She was scheduled to do it, but I guess apparently she's not. She's dropping out.
Huh. Yeah.
It'd be cool to go to the AMREN conference again because I did go there 3 years ago, but I don't have the finances to do it right now.
Yeah, I don't either. I would love to do more stuff like that, you know, but I just don't have the money, and it's but you know, it's just, you know, more and more, it's just really nice that it's happening so quickly that it's becoming more normalized for these events to. I mean, AMREN's been around for a while, but I'm just speaking in general. For these events to just be happening, and you know, it's not like this shocking, scandalous thing to normies, or at least you know, as much as it used to be. And that and
well, is it? I don't really know what the normies think because I mean, I imagine most normies. Well, I mean, I guess there are more people getting red pilled. There's definitely that, but I don't know that to the extent to which normies find the thing offensive or if they're even like. I imagine most people probably weren't ever aware of the AMREN conference because they didn't really keep up with that stuff. So I don't know what most people would think if they ever saw that or heard about that.
Yeah, but I just mean, like, in general, it just seems like well, maybe I'm speaking from my own viewpoint more than anything, but like I remember just you know, like when Millennial Woes did the, what was it, the Northwest Forum or in Seattle, you know, before he did the MPI thing.
Okay.
And just like, it's just kind of, I remember it was just kind of like, whoa, you know, that's crazy, you know, that they're doing that. But it is, you know, it's happening more and more, and it's just and it seems, you know, with you know, what Richard Spencer and Mike Enoch did in Auburn, you know, where they pushed and they took it to court, and it just seems like there's more of an undeniable voice for nationalists, you know, in the public square, which is awesome. You know, it's just, I just, you know, coming from my upbringing, you know, it's just, I never would have imagined that. It's just really nice to see.
Yeah. Do you ever like, just to tie this back to, I have two different thoughts. Maybe I'll say one of them before I say the other. But to tie this back to something we were discussing earlier about these conferences and just getting together with people. I mean, they often talk about how, like, I know Jared Taylor, when he promotes the AMREN conference, he says, the most important thing is about the feeling you get being surrounded by like-minded people. And it really is true, because like the one time I went, it really did kind of like energize me. It did make me feel more like a higher caliber individual, because you're surrounded by people who are intelligent, who are, you know, well-dressed and, you know, polite and well-mannered. Like, just being in an environment like that really does, like, encourage you to, like, show more decorum. I mean, and, you know, I'm not going to try to, like, bash other gatherings that maybe aren't quite as buttoned down. Like, I know, like, there's TR WrestleMania, they had that event, which I wasn't at there or anything, but, like, there were people all yelling, like, Sig Heil! Like, I mean, stuff like that I mean, stuff like that, like, I can see how, like, in that kind of environment, people would naturally do stuff like that, because people are naturally going to.
Yeah, they're blowing off steam.
Like,
I mean, it's
definitely.
It's a big. I think it's a big release. You know, just. But yeah, I mean, you know, you're not defined just by, you know, what you think and say. It's also what you do. And when, you know, you put these things into action, and this is, you know, what I meant when we started, you know, talking about when you get to Mass and and you make it a regular thing, it starts to become who you are. And I think that's part of
become who you are. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The Radix or the MPI. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, it does. It starts to define you. You know, when, you know, I've told you this before. If you want to be an artist, if you want to get better at making art, you make art. You do it over and over. You do it every day. You do it whenever you can, and that's what you know. That's what you become. It's the same thing with you know, the ideas that we talk about. You know, ideas will always be important to a people who you know, appreciate ideas, have the ability to innovate ideas and interpret ideas, you know, manipulate ideas, consider ramifications short and long term of ideas. But it's, you know, when, you know, and this is why any honest person with, you know, a mediocre intelligence understands that, you know, communism is just, it's preposterous, you know, because once it leaves the realm of ideation, it's you know, it falls apart. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's getting together with people makes a big difference, you know, and it helps. I guess kind of the viewpoint I was coming from when I started talking about this, and how it's remarkable to me that it's happening more, is we come from a society, from a zeitgeist that pathologizes the you know, the worldview of people like us, and that can be burdensome. It can be painful. It can be you know, you can be isolated. And so getting together with other people, and I think I mentioned this to you, Ian, you know, just, you know, where I go to Mass, it's the traditional Mass, and it's everyone that goes there, they're very traditional people. And after Mass, the women hang out with each other, and the kids and the men hang out, and just whether, to whatever degree you're contributing to a conversation, it just feels good to be around normal people who, you know, it's not pathologized. It's just, it's like, yeah, this is normal. This is who we are. This is, it does make a difference. And it's, and this is only remarkable because we've been, you know, removed from it. So yeah, it's important.
Yeah. I guess I remember I had another thought based on what we were saying about the conferences, though I can't quite remember what it was now. Oh yeah. We were talking about what normies think, and I remember the thought came to my mind. Do you ever like try to go back to before you were red pilled and try to like remember how you felt about certain things or what you thought about certain things? Because sometimes I try to do that. Like I try to think like, okay, at this point in my life, would I have thought this or would I have said this? Because it's interesting to see how your views have changed. But like I often feel like if I were to go back and look at myself, I was never, like, even when I wasn't like red pilled, I still kind of had some sympathy toward certain things. Like, do you remember John Rocker? Does anybody remember him?
The name rings a bell, but I can't connect it to anything right now.
Well, he was a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, and you know, he's like a Southern boy. Like so you like grew up. He's like a local boy. And
was he Wild Thing? Was that?
No,
okay.
No, that was Mitch Williams.
Okay.
But and I guess the character from Major League, that was
okay.
They're sort of tied together.
Okay.
But no, John Rocker, he didn't actually have a very long career. But what happened was there was a sports Sports Illustrated who wrote a piece about him. Like he actually was doing a story on him, and he went around. Sorry, what? I'm hearing an echo all of a sudden. Seeing of echoes, the sports writer did echo. But okay, who's LUE-YEE? I think it's echoing on your end. Are you there, LUE-YEE? Well, LUE-YEE, I'm just gonna mute you for a moment, because I don't want this echo. Okay, so
yep, that was
sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know if LUE-YEE's there right now, but I just had to mute him for the time being. Anyway, there was this sports writer who basically was doing a piece on him, so he like spent the day hanging with him and doing stuff, and he basically said a bunch of really like bigoted things, and he made some comment about how he hates New York and how he's like, why'd you want to take the number 7 next to some queer with AIDS, next to some guy who just got out of jail, and like he's saying all this really like basically he's talking about how it's just like a multicultural hellhole in New York, and you know, this was back in like '99 or something when this happened, and it caused a ton of controversy. And after that, John Rocker became this like villain. I mean, I hated the Braves at that time, so I hated him for just because he was on the Braves. But you know, even at the time, this was like when I was like a teenager when this happened. But I remember even at the time thinking, okay, well, I don't like this guy because he pitches to the Braves, and I do think some of the things he said were a bit distasteful. But I remember thinking, like, well, I kind of have some sympathy for what he's saying about New York being full of, you know, weirdos and degenerates. Like, I wouldn't want to live in that environment. So,
yeah,
like, even though I wasn't like red pilled or like a race realist or whatever, I still kind of understood that, like, you know, the stuff he describes is not pleasant, and it's not like I can understand what he's feeling. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just like I never like fully counterstood him with the guy just because I felt like I understood his grievances. Now,
yeah, I mean,
to be fair, I don't think he's like some genius or anything. He does seem like kind of a. He doesn't seem like he's the brightest bulb, John Rocker. But even so, like,
yeah, but he's being honest, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if that's how he feels, I mean, like, he's not a bad person for having this. And what was funny is last night I was reading about this incident, and the sports writer Jeff Pearlman,
it goes.
He basically talked about how this story changed John Rocker's life and how it changed his life. Because apparently Jeff Pearlman at the time was like just a kid in his 20s trying to get his big break as a sports writer, and like he was kind of like a second-tier guy working at Sports Illustrated, and this like brought him a lot of fame, and it also made John Rocker this huge like a
pariah.
Yeah, exactly. And he talked about how, and basically this guy, of course, he's a liberal. Of course, he's a New Yorker himself. So, like, he talks about how he keeps bringing up. He talked about how for sometimes he feels bad about what he did to John Rocker because he kind of, in some ways, like John Rocker was never quite the same after that. Like his career kind of slowly went downhill.
And that's the point. That's why they do these things. It's punishment.
Yeah, but what really struck me is how he keeps talking about how sometimes he feels bad about John Rocker, but then he shows some like article that John Rocker wrote and shows some tweets he made. He's like, you know what? I don't feel sorry for this guy at all. I did the right thing. And that's how he closed out the article. And he's like, and it's just like, you know, like just I came away thinking like, John Rocker, again, I don't think he's like the smartest guy out there. I still feel like this sports writer guy is kind of a jerk. So. Yeah, just how it is. They look at everything in terms of like my liberal principles, and anybody who violates that deserves to be destroyed, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, and you know, when I try to think back to, you know, when I was just, you know, among the ranks of the, you know, the ideologically conditioned, I guess. You know, I understand, you know, using the term red pill, because when you can appreciate the truth, when you can see the importance of the truth, when you can see, you know, the impact of the truth on everything, yourself and, you know, everything around you, it's difficult to, to turn your back on it. I mean, and this is, I'm not looking to say that it's an exclusively European thing, but it's very pronounced in us. We have and it's really good for us. It's part of who we are. We have a strong preoccupation with the truth that, it works in such a way that if we're faithful to the truth, then we have peace. But when we ignore it, it kind of gnaws at us. And what I remember is, and I'm guessing it's like this for a lot of people, and someone like John Rocker's just, he's forthright about it, and you have to respect that. But I think, what I remember is I always knew, that things were askance. I knew that it wasn't, I knew there was something wrong, and I had some ideas, but and this is how it's been designed. This crippling monstrosity that's been inflicted on our societies. I kind of intuited, where it would lead me if I really, honestly explored it. And that makes you fearful of social consequences. And so, I mean, I think the only difference really is you give yourself, permission to follow the truth, because that's what every other racial group does. That's what every other ethnic group does. And,
well, I don't know if every ethnic group follows the truth. I mean, maybe they're honest about how they feel about.
What I mean by that is they acknowledge racial differences. That's what I mean. And they by the truth, I mean, maybe a better word for it would be, they follow their instincts, which is to, prefer and be devoted to the interests of your ethnic group, and be okay with that, see that as normal, and which doesn't necessarily put you at odds with other ethnic groups, but although it will, if you're in close proximity in large enough numbers. But that's, and that's something that is verboten with whites. It's the following that truth, that hey, I have my group. I love my group. I love my heritage. I appreciate who we are, what we've done. So, I mean, normies, I think they have enough insulation, to kind of protect themselves from that cognitive dissonance of, having to, wanting social acceptance, wanting to, even if it's just superficially, to be virtuous, but at the same time, wanting to kind of, follow the truth, what's true, and I was a teacher, and I would see the differences, in ethnic groups. I saw it as a student as well. And again, you don't say anything if you're, if you want to preserve your social capital and keep your job or whatever. But it's, and it's also something that, is difficult at church, especially, before I started going to the Latin Mass, and it's not like, now that I hang out with just traditional Catholics, it's not like we, just slander everyone except whites. And there are a couple of, there are a couple of Asian people, there are a couple of Hispanic people. There's like there's a black guy that comes sometimes, but
sounds
again,
like a text chat.
yeah. It's but it's predominantly white, and they're not, they're not afraid of acknowledging that, things are stacked against whites in our society. They're not afraid to talk about the JQ. And so
You're talking about at your church?
Yeah. So it's, I mean, it's you know, being a normie is, you know, unless you're just kind of dumb, I guess, you know, and you know that something's wrong, and you know, while there's enough institutional support, you'll go along with that. Oh yeah, you know, that, you know, whites are bad, you know, whites are oppressive, and it's, you'll go along with it, but you still know, if you're honest, you know, you know, you'll and I mean, all you have to do is point out to people, and they'll find a way to talk their way out of it, but you point out to people, like, you know, will you go into this neighborhood after dark? Will you go before dark? You know, and they might signal, well, yeah, I would.
Well,
but
I have a problem with that.
Exactly. But they know in their hearts, and it's just there comes a time when, you know, the untruth becomes untenable for whatever reason, you know, and that's where I think we might be getting to that point.
Yeah,
now, we'll see. You know, we'll see. You know, how it boils down.
Yeah, when the consequences are actually, you actually have to face the consequences of it. And
well, you look. I mean, you look at these poor people in South Africa right now that are they're dealing with this truth, and it's going to be to the eternal shame of the European race that this was allowed to happen to these people. It really is, and it's just it's you know, moral laziness and, you know, of the highest order, you know, to let this happen. It's a you know, a deliberate refusal to acknowledge the truth, and this is what happens, unfortunately. It's and I guess, you know, it's going to have to you know, start approaching that sort of scenario here before people start, you know, realizing, you know, what, you know, the cost of avoiding the truth.
Yeah, I forgot the Game 7 of the Stanley Cup second round was going on today.
Yeah.
Capitals versus Penguins. Well, there's Penguins versus Capitals. I want to see the Capitals win because they're local to where I live, and Penguins have won a lot, so I don't want to see them win it again. I think they won did they win the Stanley Cup last year? I can't remember.
I actually don't follow any sports. I did.
I see on Twitter, somebody, a Capitals fan, says grab him by the Crosby, because Sidney Crosby's the star.
Yeah, I remember the name.
On the Penguins. That
was the although he does he still play for the Penguins, Crosby?
Yeah.
Okay. That was that was the last sport I followed. I never really got into most sports, but, you know, where I come from in New England, you know, hockey's pretty big, and I always got into it. And I was always a Bruins fan. And, you know, at various times I've kind of, you know, I would watch other sports, you know, if I was hanging out with people who were watching it, and it's kind of fun in a way, you know, it's a social thing. But I really, you know, I loved hockey for a long time, and you know, finally got to see the Bruins win the cup a few years back, and
yeah, I hated that. I hate all the Boston teams.
yeah. I mean, I've you know, I like, again, I don't follow sports, but like when I did, you know, I love the Bruins, and then I also liked the Yankees. I like the
Yankees.
Yeah, I know. All over the map, you know, just, but yeah, I mean, I don't follow it anymore because it's just, while I can respect it, especially hockey, that's a pretty white sport.
Sure.
It's just so wrapped up in the consumerism and just the craziness of our culture. So I just don't really follow it anymore. You know, but you know, I can still appreciate it. Are the Bruins in it?
Yeah.
This year?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
So that's Yeah. I don't know. Are we starting to bore people? I don't know if you wanted to sign off now or maybe just go off there.
Yeah, whatever. I mean,
I don't know. Are people enjoying listening to us just sit and talk about hockey? How many viewers do we have? Does we have 10 viewers? Well, that's pretty good. I don't know if LUE-YEE's still around or what. He's still in the Hangout technically, but yeah. He hasn't unmuted himself, so I guess he's probably still busy.
He's face down in a plate of noodles.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of tired just because I guess we've been going 2.5 hours now. I don't.
Yeah, I'm okay with logging off. I hiked for a while today, but I appreciate everyone that came to listen.
Yeah, just yeah, bring some more dudes. Delta USA says. Well, I sent out some invitations, but these are all the people who showed up, so I don't know if any more dudes are coming. I guess Sam said that he was. I guess he's around. He's saying something in the text part of it, but I guess it sounds like he's not coming. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. I'm getting kind of tired, and I think I'm ready to sign off now. Maybe we can talk off the air about some stuff.
We can't have a intellectual powerhouse hangout every single time.
Yeah, I think the two of us here was good. It was just kind of like reminds me of like on the Daily Show when all the guests leave and drop off one by one until it's just Enoch and Seventh Son.
Oh boy, look at the time!
Oh geez, look at the time!
I can't do my Carl voice.
I never watched that show either. So
I loved that show when it was on. It just cracked me up. It was just so absurd, and I got all the references, and yeah, and I loved Carl. It cracked me up. So
white people have been running around here. I know all the drops they'd use, but I don't really watch the show, so I don't know all the references.
Yeah, I don't need directions to know how to rock. Yeah, she is a whore. All right. I'm out of control. You need to shut me off.
Okay.
86 Lumen and Sol.
Yeah, I think we should probably sign off now. I mean, I bet some people might show up after we sign off, but we've been going for about 2.5 hours, so I think it's long enough. I mean, we don't need to make them 3 hours if we're just kind of running on fumes after a while. So.
All right. God bless all.
Well, let's just thank everybody who came. Thank you, Lumen. Thank you, William Scott, and happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark Citadel. Thank you, LUE-YEE, and thank you, Britton, who was here very briefly, although I was having technical difficulties at the time and didn't get to hear much from him. But thanks for coming, Britton. I don't know if he's going to pop back in later, but whatever. And LUE-YEE, I hope your dad is doing all right. You're still there. And thank you to our 14 viewers. Well, we got 14 now. People are showing up right when we were signing off here. But yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time. God bless everybody.
Bye, guys.